Well, we've got 22 hours left on this Bugatti Chiron Championship, and on this account, my Chiron is fully upgraded. I find this, well, here, and they're offering us instant free servicing on this car, so that leaves me really no choice but to run through and pick up some 50 gold. And but before I do that, I find this choice of car for this limited time series rather peculiar. So in the game we have 4 Bugattis, right? So we got this Chiron, and we got Chiron Sport, the faster brethren, which has, of course, its own exclusive series. So it's worth fully upgrading, or you get a little bit more in return if you fully upgrade, right? And same applies for the old Veyron 16.4 Grand Sport Vitesse, and even for the original Veyron 16.4. So they, out of the 4 cars, 3 of them have exclusive series available, except the one that we got for now in this limited time series, and the cost of the car is what, 750 gold. And to win this car through this version of the limited time series, it will cost 720 gold, which is almost the full cost of the car itself. So I was initially thinking maybe I will do a playthrough video on my third account, which is really a placeholder account to, essentially show when discounts are available. So if you don't own cars, the car discount shows up. If you already own a car, then they kind of ignore you, right? Or upgrade discount for the same reason. So that's sort of what I have my third account mainly for. So I was thinking about possibly running through on the third account to do this, but then well, I got busy with the whole F1 business, and then this was also a very shorter than usual limited time series. So here we are, we got only 22 hours left, and I'd much rather run through it in this maxed out version. So that's where that's where I find myself in. So yeah, so let's see if I can pull this off within the next 22 hours with the help of this instant service. So for this run, I suppose I really don't need to worry too much about bot training. So we'll go full on with least amount of bot training. At least I would not necessarily go out of my way to slow the bots down. So in this, we might come across some faster bots, but with the fully upgraded car, you expect, no trouble, right? So I know it says 24 seconds. We'll wrap it up just under 20 seconds for a quick autocross, and we'll see how this goes. And daily bonus? That was daily bonus? Huh. Interesting. I thought I already collected daily bonus from F1 content, or does it not count? Oh no, I don't want to retry. Get out of there. Okay, let's move on. Alright, so gold trophy number 1 of 45 needed for 50 extra gold. So let's move on to the second event. Endurance at Mazda Raceway. 7.1 kilometers is the target to hit. So yeah, this car really needs to be customized I know, especially with the fully upgraded version. Obviously, we have all the paints and vinyl packs available as a complement. I really should take advantage of that and do some special liveries on this, but let's see if we can collect that extra 50 gold. So yeah, 50 gold reward for a car that is worth 750 gold seems a little skewed. You know, if you think that, yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one. So last time we had this car, limited time series, the first time, right? The reward was 120 gold, I think. And of course, we only needed to bring the car's PR up to 88.5 or something like that. So low enough we could run it with 3 upgrades across the board. And this time, obviously, they are requiring us to upgrade it further to all the way up to 90. And, you know, given that it only requires 2 extra gold upgrades from how we won it last time, but you know, as you might guessed it, the final later tier upgrades are much more expensive, right? So those 2 extra gold upgrades are like, what, one is like 170, the other one's like 110 or something like that. So combined, it's nearly 300, maybe not quite, but almost 300 gold for just 2 more upgrades. You know what I mean? So if you ask me, that is a little too rich for my blood. And especially considering that this car, as I said, cannot finish the series this car is featured in, the bonus series this car is featured in. This car is not the one to use for 100% completion. You need the faster Chiron Sport, number one. So it's kind of upgrading this car somewhat, you know, wasted, first of all. And second of all, it's the holiday season. It's the end of the year, right? So you know we can expect some major discount on a lot of the cars in the game, as they typically have offered us in the past. And also, if they don't offer a car that we actually are looking for, then there's also the racer's choice, where you pick the car that you want to buy and they will knock off 40% off, I think, which is, you know, pretty good discount. So yeah, so, you know, that's not bad. That's a better way, I feel like, to obtain this car if you really want to get this car, than, you know, putting in all those upgrades. Unless you really want it, then sure, I cannot argue with that. But anyway, ran a little extra for this endurance, 8.6 kilometers. All right. And some 2,000 plus fame points. Let's see. And by the way, since we have been mainly, well, I have been mainly focusing a lot on F1 content, the new content of the game, something, an observation about the F1 content. Number one, the fame points that we get are pretty dismal. At least I feel like they are pretty nerfed out. So by playing the F1 content, what we get out in the rest of the game is pretty limited. You know, they use their own, the F1 content uses its own currency, and the fame points really don't add up much that they really want that to be a separate game. I feel like, that they really don't want to mingle with the rest of the game. So I find it very interesting. I don't know if I have a opinion about that. I wish okay, fine. I do have an opinion about that. I wish the fame points did pay out a little bit higher. I mean, after all, it is the pinnacle of motorsport, and why is winning a race in that pinnacle worth so little in fame? I mean, if it's not for fame, what is the point, right? Anyway, so it's the point being, the fame point we get for F1 content is, to me, it seems very, very minimal. And then in terms of farming, once you won the car, you got the Champions Series content, which has, 5 venues that are featured, right? 5 Grand Prix circuits. Each one has a time trial, which has a little bit lower payout. And then we got a time trial payout is, obviously it's a single lap Grand Prix, and I want to say average about $7,000, $8,000 motorsport dollars per try, like completion, like a lap, right? And then, oh boy, this car's so slippery. Then the cup race per lap, it's about 10,000 motorsport dollars. So in Champions Series, the cups are 3 laps, so each one pays out about 30,000 plus, depending on which circuit. Suzuka, being the longest of the circuits, does have a slightly higher payout. But speaking of length versus payout, the endurance is totally nerfed in F1. I think no matter what kind of distance you cover, they pay out the same way based on your rank. Rank is the only thing that matters in the F1 endurance. So, which, I don't know, makes it kind of moot point to run long distance, So that's a bit disappointing, as in motorsport dollar payout is exactly the same no matter how far you run in that content. I know. So yeah, and then same applies for, well, I guess with the elimination it's the same in the rest of the game. The payout is the same. It's based on your rank rather than the distance that you travel. However, the distance does make a difference in the service bars, so that still counts against our favor. Doesn't count in our favor. So yeah, I know this is not F1 that I'm racing, but I thought since I'm talking here, I'll just complain a bit. So hopefully you guys didn't mind. Anyway, moving on to tier 2. We'll see you in the next tier. Stay tuned.